right, welcome to Primos for Life, the wrestling podcast made for the fans, by the fans. Como siempre, yo soy Eddie, el niño vaque. We got Ariel, the Ecuadorian dream bisueta, and we are your self-proclaimed, undisputed co-host tag team champions of the world. And in tonight's episode, Ariel and I jump into Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown post-WrestleMania, discussing week number 2 of the new wrestling season. We discuss the highs, we discuss the lows, and everything in between. So, como siempre, sit back, grab a snack, and let's get it on. Ooh, Primo, what's up?
What's going on, Primo? ¿Cómo vamos, man? How are you? ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien, man. Todo bien. Just went crazy buying a bunch of t-shirts, bro. I don't know why. I just started scrolling and then one shirt led to another and I'm like 15 t-shirts in, I think.
You're like, well, if I get this one, I should have this one too. I mean, why not? It just makes sense. And all of a sudden you get 15 shirts and now you have to find a place to put them. And now you're like, damn, I have to get rid of 15 old shirts.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
That's gonna have to happen. But hey, man, all in the name of wrestling.
Well, you know what it was? It's because they're doing like a 4-day, WWE is doing like a 4-day thing in Tampa. So I'm like, man, what am I gonna wear at Saturday night's main event? What am I gonna wear at NXT Battleground? So I was like, you know what? Let me start looking. So I went on WWE shop and I got like a Yeet t-shirt, and then I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, ooh,
did you get
El Grande Americano?
The Yeeton shirt that you wanted? Is that the one that you got?
No, not yet. I think I'm gonna buy that there. Yeah,
when you get there, okay. All right,
yeah, but
get
this
the
one's
Grande
like
Americano shirt, of course, because
right. It's like a
your
Yeet
gimmick.
shirt.
That's your gimmick.
El Grande Americano shirt, and then I also got what else did I get? I Believe in Joe Hendry shirt from WrestleMania.
I mean, we all do believe. We all do.
But then that led me to Pro Wrestling Tees. Bought a couple of t-shirts there. Bought a Mike Santana t-shirt there. That's pretty dope. Very Scarface-ish. Really cool. Okay. And then that led me to this other t-shirt place that I ended up buying like a Dirty Dom t-shirt. Like it's the face of the Pringles guy, but just with a mullet. It's hysterical.
Nice.
So yeah. So a bunch of t-shirts. Why not?
Yeah. Hey man. Hey, why not? Like you said. You're not hurting nobody. You ain't hurting nobody. It's fine. But what I am going to recommend that you do wear one of those 4 days.
Yeah. Right now, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. And for those who couldn't watch and they're just listening, I held up our Primos for Life shirts.
Yeah.
Just because he's there, might as well get some looks, right? Get some eyes on the shirt and on the name. It's great.
Why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
Exactly. So, well, I mean, I'd like to think that we've soft opened this as best as we can.
Yeah.
We're going to be going over, just so everybody knows, today's episode will be quick depending on how fast we make it. A recap of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown this past week. This would be the second week following the start of the new season, the end of WrestleMania. Storytelling, storylines, setups, preparing for Backlash, all things encompassed into these episodes. And you and I are just going to sit here and do what we like to think we do pretty well-ish, okay? Kind of.
I think so.
Let's get into it. Unless there's anything you'd like to do beforehand.
No, let's get into it, man. And the only thing is, for those that are listening, they can't see what's happening, but for those that are going to end up watching this later on Spotify or YouTube, this is the first episode where I take the mobile studio on the road because I am not where I normally am. I'm actually probably 2 hours away from where I usually record, but I'm just happy to see that everything works. So I'm pretty happy.
Hey, we're getting the episode done. So exactly. Nothing else, knock that one.
Let's get it. But all right, so let's jump into Monday Night Raw. Opens up with everybody walking in as always, but then we find out that Gunther is suspended indefinitely. So pretty much we go forward to the ring. Seth Rollins opens up the show with Heyman and Braun Strowman. I'm sorry, Braun Strowman. I have him fresh on the mind because unfortunately we found out today that he was one of the people that got released, right?
He was one of the large group of cuts, which I think we can address post shows.
Yeah.
Well, we got to make sure we come back and touch on that, because that's it's a bummer. Some fun names there, some people that you like to see, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
definitely, you never want to see anybody lose their job. It's terrible. So
exactly.
But yeah, we can get into that later. And Braun Strowman, good luck, man.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to come on and talk wrestling, feel free.
We here.
But a Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker, yes. And they open up the show. Seth starts talking about how he's the future, and it's not through Roman, it's not through CM Punk, but it's ultimately through him and his new crew. Sammy comes out, basically is like, hey man, like, you're no better than Roman. You're basically a new bloodline. And Seth loses his mind when he's like, no, don't say that. Don't call us that. And just a lot of back and forth, basically just, Sammy putting their real life out there about how good friends they are in real life, how their kids play, et cetera, et cetera. But basically saying like, hey, as a friend, I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is you're no better than Roman Reigns. You're not the answer. Mm-hmm. You are basically a dictator telling people what to do. And that's not what the future is supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, cool way to open up the show, just to show this new clique, this new organization, whatever we're going to call them.
The Paul Heyman's faction, baby. It's the new Heyman faction. I mean, there's a couple things about this that because I wrote a couple notes down, because there's a couple things here that I did like. Seth Rollins is coming out constantly saying the winner of the main event at WrestleMania. At this point, possibly a build-up for a John Cena feud, because John Cena gets to go, you know what? I did it Sunday night. Possibly. Just something he said, and I was like, okay, note that or put that in the bank as to like something like a little dropling that may come back at some other point. Then I have written down, like, really? Sami Zayn is the guy that's going to do this? But then once they spoke about their friendship, everything like that, as you said, their kids play together, stuff like that, and how close they are in terms of when Seth Rollins became a new father, Sammy gave him some advice, and then when he did compare him to Roman Reigns and CM Punk, better. But they wanted to get Sami Zayn an out. They want to give Sami Zayn an out because Seth Rollins does like him so much. So it's, we can get you out of here so this doesn't become a problem. And, we'll also get you. So we'll move you to SmackDown, and Paul Heyman will cash in a favor or, make some phone calls and get you a world title shot.
Well, we don't find that out till later, but yes, ultimately that's how he sweetens the deal later on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is.
Yeah.
But he wants an answer by the end of the night as to whether he wants to fall in line or be against him. If you're not with me, you're against me type stuff, as always.
Yeah. Which again, I'm kind of on the same page with you. I was surprised that Sammy was the one to come out and be the voice of reason, because I feel like every time he does do that, he gets beat up, and then it's like we don't see him for months, and then ultimately that's what ends up happening at the end of the episode. But
that's 100% correct. He just came back last week, or not last week, but whatever, like to let me, Jay, I'm back, man. I fucking love you, ooh, yeah. And I was like, he comes out, and then we'll talk about it at the end. But no, come on,
yeah. That's why I wasn't really too crazy about it, because I would have rather they made an example of somebody else, somebody new, you know what I mean? Just to give somebody else a spotlight. But to have Sami Zayn become the fall guy again for something else, I mean, I feel like we've seen it the last 2 years. It's like, yay, like the rise above Sami Zayn story. We've seen it. And I just wish it was a little bit different. That's all. I mean,
no,
still good.
I agree. No, it's great. It's great. And like I said, the fact that they used the real life stuff of, we are friends, and above all this, we've known each other 20 years, things along those lines. Absolutely, tugging at the heartstrings. Great. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for it. But like I said, I was surprised it was Sammy. And then, like I said, I was just kind of also thrown off that he wanted the answer by the end of the night. I'm like, come on, man, drag this off a little bit. But then I'm like, nah, because we got to get into Backlash. I'm like, but I don't know. We'll see what happens later, because I'm like, they're going to end up kicking his ass or something. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But, so decent opening segment. End of the feud for now, what you're doing with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman faction. Moving forward, no Punk, no Reigns. So you had to kind of do something. I think this is all building for, the at SummerSlam, you'll get a Breaker Rollins versus Reigns CM Punk tag match, but they have to do something in the interim. So there we go.
Yeah, but I agreed. A decent segment, but then we move on to Rhea versus Roxanne Perez. That'll be the first match of the night. Really solid match overall. I was actually very happy with Roxanne and the way she handled someone as like tall and big as Rhea, more or less. And then right when the match was getting good, that's when we have Julia interfere, and then Io comes out to help, and it's kind of setting up that 2v2 tag woman match type of thing for later on. But kind of like my friend of my friend is my enemy kind of situation, because they were just beefing at WrestleMania, but now they're like, hey, even though you have the belt, we're still friends. I mean, I'm gonna help you because I don't like these girls,
Yeah, these young punks trying to come up in here.
Right.
Snot nose.
Yeah, but really good. I mean, I was happy with that. I had no problems with that.
Yeah. Good chop block by Julia on Rhea Ripley. Io came out. I was taking it, of course, because it's Io. But yeah, no, good match. Like you said, setting up the foundation for what they're going to move to get to probably at Backlash, maybe. Because I don't know if you're going to drag this on till what's the next major pay-per-view after that? I forget. Because we also have Money in the Bank coming up, don't we?
Yes.
Soon? Yeah. So I don't know, but either way, so good segment. I thought it was great. I love Io Sky, like Rhea Ripley, big fan of Roxanne Perez. So
yeah. And then we move on to the Judgment Day segment where everybody's kind of happy.
Clubhouse,
yeah. And everybody's kind of happy, celebrating, that JD McDonough's back, and of course Finn is upset, because he was like, "Hey man, like, why didn't you call me?" He's like, "Oh well, I called Dom, and I thought he would tell you." So it's like throughout the whole segment, you could just tell like he's no longer seen as the leader. Like Dom is the one getting the phone calls. He's the one getting the heads up. He's the one, these things. So it's almost like that power shift is happening. And then like Finn ultimately is not liking that. So little seeds there for that.
Dissension has to be sown in the ranks there. So yes, it's great. There was, they're getting a shot against the War Raiders now next week, which was revealed during that conversation. And then another thing that I did find entertaining was when Liv Morgan came over, said something to Finn, and she was just like, "Since you're not a champion," I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
It's like,
like, why'd you have to say it like that?
Ouch.
Yeah. That was rough. That was rough. But yeah, no, it was good. And then Carlito comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Man, we all got gold. Maybe I should get some gold." And I'm just like, he's like, "That would be cool. Apple bite. That'll be cool.
That would be so cool, man.
Carlito, you're awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
So cool. Come on."
I'm a fan of that. And then we get this dreadful Logan Paul segment where he comes out, challenges Jey Uso. Jey comes out, tells Logan that if you want some, come get some. Logan talks more smack, and then ultimately Jey super kicks him right in the mouth. And that was probably the best part of the segment, because now Jay's looking really tough, really look like a fighting champion, and he ain't gonna let no punk like Logan Paul come talk smack. So I appreciated this segment. I was really cool with it. I like it.
Yeah, I have great heel work from Logan Paul. Solid heel work. And I literally have, "Oh no," Jey Uso call out. Like, all right, I guess this is what we're gonna do. And then Jey Uso calling him a punk ass YouTuber. Like, punk ass YouTubers are coming here. And it was good. Then Logan Paul calling out like Jey Uso's like really short Intercontinental Championship reign. He's like, "That's shorter than your IC Championship reign." So, oh damn, okay, we're just going for it, boys. Great, take it. No, I agree with you. As much as I don't care for Logan Paul, but once again, that's also dude, it's great heel work. So I thought it was a good segment, and then you could start kind of figuring out what to do with both of them moving to Backlash and however you want to present this, because you have to do something quick. Backlash is in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
I think it's like next week.
So you have to do something kind of quick. So
yeah. Overall, I was actually more excited for the next thing, because the next thing was War Raiders versus Judgment Day, which is Finn and JD. And the real impressive and funny thing about this whole match, it was the New Day on commentary. Hysterical. Like, man, I could not believe how good they are at being jerks. Because it's like
awesome.
The fact that they were just clowning Ivar the whole time. It was like, bro, he jumped. Like, that's not athletic. He's fat. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, Xavier, calm down. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I have literally impressive because he's fat. Well, that's what Xavier like. So, sorry, there was a lot of fat shaming in this episode and this thing right here. So we apologize to anybody in advance when trying to.
Yeah, apology accepted. Man.
Done for purely comedic reasons. But yes, impressive because he's fat. I wrote down literally many jokes. Like it was. I agree with you. It was absolutely hysterical. The stars of this match was the New Day and their heel work and their ability to take their usual funny side and sarcastic side and now just turn it on, to evil bully purposes, which is hysterical because these guys are absolutely great doing it. But yeah, the way they were just talking mad smack about Paul Ivar, man, it was crazy.
He's like, it's not impressive, all right, just because he doesn't work out.
Yeah. And then they came and they started messing with McAfee when they were there. They're like, oh yeah, your homies who couldn't even clear the railing. Like, they're like, these guys can't stop anybody, but your boys get stopped.
It was so good. It was so good. So that was truly the highlight of that entire match. Even though the match was good itself, for sure. Good to see that JD's really back in his groove. You could tell it's a little bit more controlled now because when he did that like moonsault off the second rope outside, like it was more like perfectly acrobatically executed instead of like last time where it was like, oh man, he like broke something.
Yeah,
like this time was
back.
Yeah, this time you could tell that he's really like a little bit more conscious about that, which I mean, understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you brought him back. He's scared. I'm not scared, but he's like when he was hurt and he can't really move. You're just not getting the fluidity that you did when you saw, like you said, a crisp version of that.
Right.
This go round.
Exactly. And then we jump into the Heyman Sammy segment in the background and, backstage.
Wait a second. Didn't Penta come out in this match?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Right. He interfered. Yes, I totally forgot about that. That's what cost the match. We were so caught up with the New Day that you're right. Penta did come out and danced on the little table, his little strut, like the little.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did it on the announce table. That's right.
Which was really dope. Yeah, you're right. Costing Judgment Day the match because of what JD did to him the previous week, costing him his match against Dominic. So still storyline, still making sense on that. But yes, you're right. Good call out. Good reminder. Before we move on, anything else, or we're good?
Nope. Okay. Good there. I think
there you go. You just wanted to throw Penta in there because you love Penta.
Well, I mean, I had it in big ass letters. So I was like, wait a second. I was like, hang on.
So anyway, going back to the Heyman Sammy segment, they're in the locker room, they're talking, they're like, hey, we're OG bloodline, and he tells Sammy to take the transfer because if he does, this is where it's revealed like this the deal will be sweetened, that he will fight the winner if he takes the deal. He will not only do the transfer to SmackDown, but also will fight the winner of John Cena and Randy Orton. He'll be the first #1 contender after that match.
Right.
And which is crazy because it's like, man, like talk about fast track. And then it also makes you kind of wonder, like, really what kind of pull does Paul Heyman have that he's just like, hey, give Sammy a title shot? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
He's Paul Heyman, man. That dude, I'm telling you, just the Heyman cockroaches, the only thing left in the world after some kind of crazy explosion happens.
Yeah, so pretty cool segment because it adds to the suspense of like, okay, what's Sammy's decision? Because we know deep down that he's a good guy and he'll be like, no, he won't do it. But I mean, with everything going on and with Triple H in charge, it's almost like, but will he though? You know what I mean? Or will he shock the world at this point, right? And say he's gonna, take the deal and fast track it. So we still didn't know, but obviously we'll get into it a little bit later on. But yeah, I like the little seeds of doubt there. It's like, oh man, what's he gonna do? Kind of situation.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Paul Heyman just sits down because he was talking to Otis. Sami Zayn was talking to Otis, and Heyman just sits down, chatting him up. Excuse us, Otis, whatever. Offers him all that he offered him, and the couple things that I did find entertaining there is, when he was like, "I respected you leaving the bloodline. I hope you can someday respect me leaving the bloodline," or whatever he said there. And then also what he said, and this is why I wrote this down, is he was like, Seth views himself as the future or whatever it is. He doesn't say I view him or we see him. He says Seth views himself, and he's like, whether or not, whatever, he believes it. So I thought that was also kind of a cool little nugget of like a possible thing moving forward.
It's almost like I'm rolling with this for now, but things are always subject to change, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
very fluid.
I picked that up too,
fluid.
actually. Yeah, good stuff. And then this probably the thing that I didn't like about the night. We jump into Becky coming out.
Exactly what I have written down. I was like, least favorite thing of the evening.
because Becky comes out and she's like, after watching footage of what happened, that we're not going to take weeks and weeks and weeks to find out who took out Bailey because it was me. Ha 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 ha. And I'm just like, oh, great. So now you're a crazy woman and you are just, 2 days back and you're just a jerk, really.
Yeah.
And then, Lyra comes out and it's like, I never needed you to boost me up. And, Bailey was the first person to tell me that you were going to be a backstabber, but I defended you, back and forth, yada, yada, but ultimately setting up a match between them for the IC title, because that's the only way Becky will even take the match if something's on the line. And honestly, at this point, I'm not engaged or excited about this story. All I hope is that Lyra knocks the snot out of her. Like, I really, really, really hope she beats her up and then doesn't come back till SummerSlam.
Dude, this is like I was so annoyed that I started getting personal.
Yeah.
Like, my first notation is Becky Lynch, work done, because she looks like she had plastic surgery done. And now I'm just being an ass because I'm just like, this stinks. Stop. Like, I wrote too much time on this segment. I think once again, this is opinion based, so don't come for me. I just thought this particular segment was just too much time. But so, like you said, Lyra Valkyria ends up like jumping through the rope and kicking Becky Lynch in the face. And then she starts walking, Lyra Valkyria starts walking back. Becky Lynch comes around the side and out through the back again and ends up hitting Valkyria at the end, walking out standing tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Once again, this whole Becky situation just kind of has me bothered already. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But let's talk about another segment that I actually did enjoy was Penta talking to Nick Aldis because he's covering for Adam Pearce this week because he's out. And he says, Penta, you're not going to get fined this week, but next week you'll have a match with JD McDonough. And he's like, gracias. And then Chad Cable comes out and he's like, hey, you suck. You lost your Mania match, but you know what's better than that was when your brother lost to El Grande Americano at WrestleMania. And then that's where, what is he, like, kick him in the face or something? And then, and then Penta's like, you gotta mess with the Lucha Bros, pendejo. And I was like, yeah.
It was, of course, I mean, I saw it, I was like, okay, now mind you, after the terrible segment that we just had, to see Penta and all this talking, I was like, great, saved. Okay, yes, I'm gonna enjoy the next few. I'm gonna next this. And then I took note of the same things you did, where Penta was like, "Thank you." Like, he's like, "Thank you." I was like, all right, man. He's happy he's not getting fined. And he's like, and I get the match against this fool next week. And then Gable and Ivy Nile come out, and Gable's line is like, you losing wasn't my favorite part of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
my favorite part of WrestleMania. Like, that's you're being a dick.
Yeah,
and then he kicks him in the face. And Penta says, "That's por mi hermano." Like, you will respect the Lucha Brothers. I was like, yes, motherfuckers, you will. But I don't want this to be a thing early. I want both of these guys to have runs by themselves.
For sure. I agree with that.
I think they can. I think both of them really, really can. I want to see a little more mic work on Rey Fénix's part. But we've seen Penta be world champion in TNA, in Lucha Underground. I'm not sure if he had it.
I think he had an MLW too.
Right. So I'm excited and I love this moment, and defending his brother and everything like that. But I just don't want them to be like, okay, bang, tag team.
Right.
And like, no. Like, let's just give these boys the time. Let them simmer. Let them marinate. Let them cook.
Yeah.
So but fun segment. The kick to the face was awesome, and then just up in Gable's grill, who's wearing the Grande Americano shirt.
Yep, that's the one I ordered.
That's the one you ordered, yeah. But it was great, and such a different feeling, the ending of this segment as to the one prior.
Yeah. So and actually, what I did like about it before moving on to the next segment was the fact that before, under the old regime, like, the acknowledgement of the existing faction of the Lucha Bros, because it was in previous companies and stuff like that, like, the fact that wouldn't be a thing. So it made me very happy that, Penta openly, like, to not insult the intelligence of wrestling fans, be like, don't mess with the Lucha Bros. I was like, we acknowledge that was a thing. Okay, awesome. You know what I mean? Because they were champions, you know what I mean? So, and another promotion. So it's like, Interesting.
No,
On several promotions actually. So
yeah, I mean they're fantastic, man. Everywhere they go, they're money, man. These guys are great.
yeah.
I'm with you. I'm very excited, and of course, just because the Latino aspect is always there too.
Sí.
It's just a little something extra especial.
Now the next segment, which I actually am a little bit excited for because I feel like this was something that this person was trying to do in their run during AEW. So I kind of I labeled it as, Rusev promo, the Redeemer 2.0. So it looks like we're going to rerun that, but we're going to do it right here. Do it the right way in WWE. So I'm excited about this.
I have written Rusev promo. I like it.
Yes. It's like the Punisher.
It was great where he was just like, I did it all for a woman. I did it all for this.
For a flag that I don't wave.
For a flag that's not even mine. And he was just like, so now I'm going to come back and do that. Now that I've woken up and I've seen who it is and I've gotten better. Now to the people where I was, I'm now coming for you.
Yeah, I'm going to fix you the way I was fixed. And I was like, let's go.
I'm like, dope. And I wasn't a big Rusev guy the first go round. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But when he got to AW, I was like, all right, I'm warming on him. And if they do this right, and I hope they do, Butch Hunter's been, hitting everything out of the park so far. But I dig it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. But then that leads into Ivy Nile versus La Primera, Stephanie Vacar. And as always, fantastic match. Good for Ivy, right? Because I feel like to go against someone as premier as Stephanie Vacar, Ivy really held her own. She could really stand toe to toe with her. And I was really impressed with her in this match.
Yeah.
But definitely put that out there for sure. Good job on Ivy.
The pit bull of American made. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's solid, man. It was a great match. Vacar, of course, with the win, but very, it was an entertaining match, much more entertaining than the other women's segment that happened not too long ago. But very good. Good. Yeah. I thought I was good with it. I thought it was just kind of a great way. Give Vacar a little extra love. Give Ivy some work with Vacar to see how they work in the ring together and things like that. So yeah, overall, good segment.
Solid, yeah. And then we get into AJ Styles talking to Nick, get interrupted by Judgment Day because Liv's trying to get some time off because she got a role in this upcoming movie. So her time off is granted, but then Dom is like, hey, I need time off too, because I'm the champion. And then throws a little dig at AJ Styles, like, what are you helping AJ with, finding a retirement home? He's like, didn't you break your hip like my deadbeat dad? And he's like, it wasn't, I didn't break my hip, I'll break something else. And basically setting up a match for later on for next week, actually. So, right. Yeah, but nice segment. It was funny. I enjoy Dominic and Liv doing their thing on behalf of the Judgment Day. So that was pretty good. I was with that.
Yeah, no problem with it. Like perfectly fine.
Yeah. Great. And then we move on to Sammy, who has a decision to make, runs into Karrion Kross and reminds him of that decision. And then basically just another mind game moment for Karrion Kross. We're just going to have to call that mind game moments for him because that's all he does now until we see where that ultimately pays off.
Until they put him back in the ring, which is going to be just a certain amount of time because they're building all this mind game moments to get to something and use it for something bigger. So just a matter of time. But,
yeah. And then to my second or third least favorite thing of the night, Pat McAfee challenging Gunther on behalf of Michael Cole.
Where he addresses the man, he's standing up on this table talking about this. I actually I wish it was just a little shorter.
I wish it didn't happen at all.
I dig what he was doing. They're gonna have Gunther back, kick the shit out of him, maybe write him off for a little while. Maybe he needs time off. College football coming up. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it was McAfee made good points. The whole that's my guy, so I'm going to stand up for him, and I'm loyal till I'm in the soil and all this and cha cha cha. I thought was great.
Like a rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. That Dr. Seuss up in here. So yeah, but I thought I was just like, this was just too long. It was just too long. Okay, I get what you're trying to do. Fine, and I'm accepting it, but let's just get to it personally. Yeah. So that was me personally.
Yeah. So then we get the video package of 20 years of Randy versus John Cena, basically building up to their match for Backlash. Pretty cool video package. And then right before the last segment of the night, we have the final moment of Sammy talking to Jay. They hug it out and ultimately says, hey, I love you. I know you're going to do the right thing, that kind of thing. They have a good OG bloodline brother moment. And then Sammy's like, yeah, I got a decision to make. And he starts walking out to the ring. And then out of nowhere, Logan Paul just knocks the snot out of Jey Uso out cold on the floor, basically setting up the real heat between them for their match that's upcoming for the World Heavyweight Championship. So,
yeah.
Cool. I like that.
That's good. Very well done. I'm like, all right, Logan Paul, return the favor.
Yeah. Receipt.
Pretty essentially like, yep, great. Delivered. We're good.
All right. And then now, Ariel, moment of truth, please, because you have a better storytelling method than I do, especially with the final segments. Go ahead. Tell the world what happened in this final segment.
Man, and it's like you said, man, it's like Sami Zayn comes out and you love him as the underdog, but you've seen him just take these whoopings time and time again. And so Seth Rollins comes out, he calls out Sami Zayn. He's like, let's give me the answer. I'm here. So Sami Zayn comes out, and they're going back and forth, and Zayn is like, look, I've had conversations with you over the 20 years we've known each other, so you know exactly what cards to play. You know the only thing that's eluded me, the only blight on my career, or the only thing I can't look, proudly on, is that I haven't held a championship of the two major titles. So to dangle that carrot in front of me, you know what you're doing, and like, nah, cool. And then to be, and then to come out and say, once again, you're no better than the original bloodline. You're a bully. You're threatening, and you're not going to strong arm me. He's like, because when I get my championship, it will because I will have done it the right way, not because I sold my soul, not because I turned my back on my people. No. And the whole time you see Rollins' face just stoic and just kind of bummed, like, man, all right. But Sammy, of course, does everything that we knew he would do, because before anything else, Sammy's he's not going to lose his self-respect. And he says, no. And then cue Braun Breaker's music.
Yeah, perfect timing too.
And then the entrance on this was something that I likened to an old ECW, where you just kind of a little smoky. It was dark. Out comes Breaker, and over his shoulder is Heyman, just looking angry. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Which led into a match, right?
Yes.
I thought it was just going to be a beatdown, but
no, because Braun wanted a match. That was another thing that Paul Heyman said when they were having the conversation before. It's like, Braun wants a match. If this is a no, Braun wants a match. So Braun gets his match. And Sami Zayn, because it is Sami Zayn, starts getting worked over. At one point, Seth Rollins has him in the corner, and he's like, take the deal. Go to SmackDown. I like you too much to have you
for the love of God, take the deal.
Like, I like you too much. I don't want you to have to do this, man. I don't want to have to do this, which is what he said before, which is why he's like, don't threaten me. Like, just take the deal, leave, man, because I don't want to be responsible for what happens. And he says, I believe the exact words are, go to hell. And then Braun Breaker just proceeds to spear this man 4 times.
Till the ref had to be like, no, get medic out here.
Oh, my Lord. I'm sitting there and I'm like, the first one I was like, okay, great. Then 2 comes, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're going to just kind of see how many we can go with. And then after the 4th, I was like, all right, yeah, come on. Seriously, man? Like, can we get executive producers Lee Fitting and Paul Levesque, please?
Not quite yet.
Like, please, because this poor bastard, man, please, Sami Zayn is no more.
Yeah.
Formulaic, but it worked. You delivered what you're supposed to do. Sami Zayn doesn't lose any credibility. Braun Breaker looks strong. Seth Rollins is the mastermind. Paul Heyman's got his boys. Great. We figure it out. It's fine. We'll get Sami Zayn at Seth Rollins at Backlash, or Braun Breaker maybe because he's going to be hurt next week, and then the week following, I believe, is Backlash. So, but yeah, no, it's good. I get it.
Yeah, ultimately the 3 standing tall at the end. Yeah.
I mean, what was your thoughts here?
No. I thought it was fantastic. I love, like you said, the sequence, the way that the music was cued perfectly upon his decision for Braun to come out. The match was solid. Braun is just really good at destroying people, and Sammy's really good at looking destroyed. I mean, he's done it so many times. I mean, he's pretty much a pro at it at this point. I think I don't know. I'm just more and more starting to realize that I'm really not a Seth Rollins guy.
I'm not. Yeah, me neither.
So, his, like, I wouldn't say overacting, but his acting of like, no, please, like, take the deal, and like this and that. And it's like, you left me no choice. And like his facials, like towards Braun, it's like, okay, well, you know what you have to do kind of thing. And it's like, okay, Seth, like, no wonder No wonder you'll always be the macho man to the Hulk Hogan, which is Roman. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
that he'll always be that second for me. I mean, I think the only time he was ever that like close maybe was when he pulled the heist of the century, winning the belt over Roman and Brock.
Right.
But even then, like that was just a little bit of momentum. But I don't know. He is fantastic in the ring. Don't get me wrong. He's an incredible athlete, an incredible superstar. Nobody's taking that away from him.
No.
I just don't think like the level that a Cody is or a Roman is. I don't know. It's just it's something's always missing, and I don't know what it is. And I get it. The Paul Heyman angle might be the thing that could boost him there. Maybe we'll see it sooner rather than later. But at this point, I'm just not convinced yet. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you because I'm not really a Seth Rollins guy either. Never really have been. Even I mean, when he first turned his back on the Shield, and even in the Shield, I was like, yeah, good. This idiot's got fucking one streak of blonde, like going all the way down his hair. I want to punch him in the mouth. But no, but he's great at what he does because he makes you not like him like a lot.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's I agree with you. I just like, all right, let's kind of see where this goes and move it along because we want to get to that tag match eventually.
Yeah. But overall, it's decent episode of Raw. I think what made it decent for me, and then we can move on to SmackDown, was the fact that for a long time I felt like there was a lot more ups than downs on an episode of Raw or SmackDown. But I feel like this time around there was like a good amount of I could have lived without this moments rather than good moments. Don't get me wrong, there were plenty of good moments, but I felt like there were just more. We could have lived without this.
Yeah, there was quite a few, but I mean, because the thing is, we've gotten spoiled because we were on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So everything made sense. Everything had a point.
Yeah.
Now we're reloading stories. We're prepping things. We're getting you set for what's to come. So I think that's why there's more things that are just seem a little more than everything else.
But that concludes Monday Night Raw for this week. And now we jump into SmackDown coming out of Iowa. And let me start off by saying this was a segment that I was not crazy about because it was a total of 30 minutes. Basically, people are walking into the arena. We get an image of Damien walking in as well, but then crosses paths with Jacob and Solo. They get in each other's faces. LA passes them, and it's like, well, I guess we're going to talk about this outside to the, in the ring. So he walks to the ring, starts a conversation. Damien finally meets up with them. He's like, hey, it's your fault that you lost your title. Well, it's your fault that this and that. Well, it makes up a match, literally a 30-minute match because the segment was 5 minutes and then the match was 25 minutes. By 8:30 at this point, watching, we get Solo Sikoa interfering and then Jacob coming out to just get a 2-on-2 between them and basically the bloodline standing tall. But I just thought it was long and I just thought it was just like, oh man, like if you're just going to beat each other up, just beat each other up. Like, who cares? Don't talk more, do more work in the ring. Just stop talking. Everybody just stop talking. That's where I was at with that.
Yeah, I love Priest.
Me too.
Not that big on, La Noche. But like I got it that they had to because it made sense. Like, hey, we have no problems because the first promo was Priest and Knight, and essentially what it was we have no problems with each other. Is what Knight said. He's like, but you came out and directly cost me a chance. He's like, I should have had my rematch, but I got put into a number one contenders match. He's like, but then that you directly cost me that. And that's what Priest is like. Well, you didn't lose your belt to start with. You wouldn't have to be in that match. You won't be in the situation anyway.
Right.
So going back and forth, I agree with you. Segment went on way too long. Match went on long. All to get just
disqualification.
Yeah, disqualification and because Solo comes out and hits Priest. So that means Knight Anoche is disqualified. So once again, someone cost me. Like you said, at this point, I was like, wow, that's okay. Well, that's a long way to get there, but we're there. Perfectly fine. Not, there's better segments in all the way around, but whatever.
Yeah. And then we move on to the Fraxium interview where they're discussing their first win, officially being on the SmackDown roster. Pretty Deadly comes out, was like, oh yeah, well, take a chill pill because, if you really want to go against somebody, why don't you put it to the test between us? And basically setting up a match, and which happens to be, next, right after the segment. But really, really good match, actually. I was really impressed with Pretty Deadly. Fraxium, they don't disappoint either. So it was a real banger for me. I thought it was crazy with all the high-flying moves, especially towards the end when Fraxium gets the win with the clean Spanish fly jumping into that Phoenix splash combo to get the pin. Awesome. I was a fan. I loved it. I was okay with it.
I'm not big to NXT, but I knew Faxing prior to this because I have seen them sometimes or a few times. The interruption by Pretty Deadly, great. I agree with you. I have great match. Impressed with Pretty Deadly, and I haven't been with these guys yet.
Right.
And I thought this was a really, really great match that they were. And then the other thing I've written down is there was a point where I forget the gentleman's name, Prince, the blonde haired dude. Mm-hmm. Frazier jumps over the top rope and like lands on him, cuts his chin pretty bad. Like when he sits up, you can see that there's a lot of blood there. And everyone kind of realizes it, and then they kind of like find a way to get him out of the ring and tag in, his buddy. And I'm wondering if they cut the match short due to that cut, because that cut did look kind of bad. Like it did. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. And then I have the exact same thing that you have said. Spanish Fly into Phoenix Splash is a dope finisher. Like I have that written down. As you said, I had a big smile. Great segment, great match. I was quite happy with it, especially after the lackluster first half hour that it just happened. I thought quick pace, quick moves, bang, like it. These boys are ready to roll. I was happy.
Yeah. And then we move into Mission and B-Fab asking for a tag match once, Liv and Raquel are back, because obviously Liv is stepping away, and then gets interrupted by Chelsea Green, who's mourning the loss of her title championship. And it's a little funny segment, little, zingers here and there, but ultimately setting up a match between Zelina and Piper. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I was okay with it.
I mean, it's B-Fab, man. It's my favorite. It's B-Fab. It's like, I saw like the minute they cut to the camera and they show Michin and B-Fab there, I literally wrote it down, and then next to B-Fab I have like 6 exclamation points.
Yeah.
I have that they want gold. Chelsea Green and Cedar Hervis come out. Yeah, the black outfit she's wearing in mourning. Great. Zelina versus Piper settled for later. Good, clean segment.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do, set up for later. I was thinking at this point now, this SmackDown's kind of like, we're pushing along. They're trying to pump segments out. So I was like, okay, great. Let's see what's next.
Yeah. And then we see Nia Jax walking out to the ring. She talks to the crowd. She's proclaiming that she's going to take what's hers back, meaning the title, off of Tiffy. But Tiffy comes out and says, cashing in on her was the best thing that she ever did, besides getting the win over Charlotte Flair, and says that she could take Nia on any place, anywhere. But then Naomi comes out and says, no, this ain't going down because y'all tormented me, during that time. So now she's going to basically come and collect. But then Jade Cargill comes out, and basically it all turns into a brawl, ultimately leading to Nick Aldis coming out. Man, this guy's really working hard, bro. Let me tell you.
Guy's busy.
And he comes out and is like, hey, you know what? Stop the fighting. We're going to set this up for a tag match later, because, guys, you got to understand this show is 3 hours and we need to fill up time. So we'll see you guys later in the ring. Exactly. So basically what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have everything. Jax comes out, followed by Tiff. Tiff, I'll defend whenever. Naomi comes out. The one thing Naomi did say that I thought that I did kind of enjoy was, oh, Tiff, you say you changed? You haven't changed. I've changed. I'm like, yeah, you crazy now.
Yeah, you crazy, girl. But I love it. I'm a huge fan of it. I really do.
I was quite good with it. So I was setting up for the main event, for that match, for the main event. So that's why.
No. But what I was going to tell you was, I was reading an article that she put out, or somebody put out, about her saying that the reason why she's really going in on this character is because she thinks this is going to be her last run. She thinks after this character, whether she wins or loses a title, I think she's done, because I think she's ready to start a family. So we're going to probably see the best of Naomi now, because she's going to leave it all in the ring.
Oh, all right. Well, then I wouldn't be surprised if they put a belt on her at some point to, kind of give her flowers before she, bows out gracefully.
Yeah, for sure. But then we get Miz versus Aleister Black next, but Miz has a little segment with Carmelo, and I'm really starting to like their dynamic. I think what I really liked about the match, though, was it wasn't the match between Miz and Aleister that I liked. I loved the interaction between Carmelo and Aleister after the fact, because the way that they were staring each other down and like who's gonna hit first kind of situation, it's setting up for their match in the future, and I can't wait to see that match.
I agree 100%.
You wrote that down too?
I have Aleister Black kicking Miz in the face video, and then Miz and Mello and Dre the chain, because he's like, Miz, Mello, and Dre. And then
great.
Miss is like, what? He's like, it was the chain. And I was like, yes, I love it all about this. This is genius. Way to go. Yeah. Black Mass, man. Black Mass. Just Jesus. Wow.
Really
Wow. But, and then to your point, yeah, I loved it because like Aleister Black was just staring at him like, what are you going to do? And Melo's just looking at him like, okay, I see. I got you. He's not backing down, which is what I love.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. He's like, all right, okay, we're okay. We're gonna get at this again, but not now. So I agree with you. Great segment, and I love that little spark of heat there at the end for both of them. It was great.
Yeah. But then we get into the Santos Rey Fenix segment where Santos tells Rey Fenix that he made Lucha look bad by losing at WrestleMania. And, anybody that could lose and not represent Lucha, or more or less, right? He's like, I can't trust you, brother. And then Rey came back and said, listen, brother, if you have a problem, take it to the ring. And I was like, oh, man, these guys are going to throw down. But I will say, because we don't get into the match yet, but I just want to put this out there now. Like, I was expecting so much more only because of the history that these two have from Lucha Underground and from, other places. But I just wanted a little bit more from that match. That's all I'll say about that.
No. Yeah, Phoenix for Santos. Yeah, Santos messing with him for everything, set up the match for later. And the one thing he did say, because he was like, brother, like,
brother.
And then Phoenix was like, there's one luchador in this world that I trust, and it ain't you, brother.
Yeah.
Once again, alluding to the fact that there's one person he calls brother, and that's the only luchador that he trusts in the world.
The Lucha Bro.
And that's Penta. So good callback to what you mentioned before about Penta using it when he kicked Gable and was like, you will respect the Lucha Brothers. Like, so I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
I mean, the next thing real quick is Selena Vega versus Piper Niven. Great. Selena Vega wins, defending the championship. We can burn through that. Then we have one more segment before I think we get it to Phoenix. But let's do that before we actually get into the match. But I do want to address what you're saying because I do think this match could have been so much more.
Yeah.
But after Vega and Piper, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that besides just kind of...
Zelina gets the win, and then we get the Nick and Solo Jacob segment.
Right. Exactly. So we get the Nick Solo Jacob segment where Aldis is saying to Solo and Fatu, or Solo's complaining. And then Aldis is like, well, you came in and you stopped everything. So now we're going to have a three-way dance. It's going to be El Noche,
David,
Priest, and Fatu, going at it. And then Solo Sikoa in his genius says, well, I mean, technically, neither one of these guys should get a match because Drew McIntyre won the #1 contenders match. So if anyone should be going, it should be McIntyre.
And you see Jacob look at Solo like, dude, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing? Like, it's like you schmo. Like, and then all this in the infinite wisdom is like, fantastic. I'm going to make this a 4-way dance, and we're including Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
But to our boy, Jacob Fatu's credit, he was like, I don't care. Put whoever in front of me. Then he did his
I'm all gas, no brakes.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes. Like, so thought it was great. Good way to set up for a 4-way dance at Backlash. All these 4 guys are great. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good with it.
But what I did like about it was like Solo trying to throw it back at Nick and was like, hey man, like, why are you trying to screw him? And he's like, no, Jake, no Solo. You're the one who's trying to screw him.
Yeah.
Like, we all see what you're doing, bro. And I was like, okay, Nick Aldis, I got you. Good job.
You can read the room. Sweet.
Yeah. And then we get into the Randy Orton segment, basically talking about John Cena, that he's actually been full of it since day one. And because he sold his soul way before anyone else did, by the merch, by the hustle, loyalty, respect. Yes, he hustles, but he's been playing everybody all along. So he sees right through him, and he's the real villain. And this is the only thing that I did like about the segment, because I did feel like it was dragging on a little bit too long. But he was like, you know what? You're just nothing but another legend that I need to kill. Basically bringing back that legend killer instinct. Is it in your notes?
Latest legend I have to put down.
There you go. Beautiful. That's the cherry on top of the segment. That's what I loved about it.
Genius. Right there, I was like, yeah, because I agree with you. I thought it was going on a little long. But I did love it because there was a lot there that you could theoretically use. And, I'm not saying Cena's a bad guy, but Orton comes out saying Cena is selfish. Cena's, like you said, has been doing this for a while. He took advantage of the PG era because he wanted to be the walking cartoon. And he was.
Yeah.
And as a result, it was a different shirt every month. And it wasn't just a shirt. It was a wristband, a knee band, a jorts, hat, a towel. He was like, all of this. He's like, the hustle, like you said, hustle and respect. He's like, no respect or nothing. He's like, you're bleeding people just by raising your merchandise prices. And then the actual parents of these kids who you claimed you had to raise, have to pick up a double shift just to be able to afford your merchandise. So I was like, okay, cool. Like dig it. Like, all right, ran these picker spots. I agree with you. Dragged on a little long, but dug it. And then, yes, beautiful way to end that segment.
Yeah, just to bring that killer instinct back of the Legend Killer. But then we get a quick little Naomi Nia segment about Nia telling Naomi, hey, just make sure you handle yours and I'll handle mine. And surprisingly, Naomi, I guess because she's playing crazy, is like, yeah, you got it. So they move on from that. Then we see Rey Fénix set to come out. But before he heads out, we get R-Truth telling RKO that he has no chance with John Cena.
No chance. That's what you got.
And he's going to lose against him because he is the one true champion. And Jimmy comes into the situation and diffuses it and tells R-Truth.
Little Jimmy?
No, Big Jim.
Sorry.
No, Big Jim. And kind of, Randy kind of brushes it off, but then Big Jim is telling R-Truth, dude, what are you doing? What are you going through? And he's like, John told me this. Why would he lie to me? You know what I mean? So
my favorite wrestler since I was a kid, John Cena. He told me this himself. And it was just like,
yeah, man.
Because what Jimmy also said, he's like, yo, man, Orton's going to just kick your face off of your head. You have to stop. If you keep doing this, he's going to hit you. He said, but why would Cena lie? Cena told me this. I was like, oh, Truth, you're a national treasure.
Yeah, for sure. And then we finally do get to the Rey Santos match. And going back to what I said earlier, but this is all I wrote. I wrote slow start, strong finish, but ultimately, because of the past, because of what we were able to see before in Lucha Underground and in other places, I was just like, I just wanted a little bit more. I wanted more, and it wasn't. But maybe the only thing that came to mind was maybe they didn't do too much of the Lucha stuff because they have to show that that's not all they are, that they could have yeah. So I don't know, man.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're saving it for Worlds Collide because that is the AAA Lucha pay-per-view, PLE that's going to be happening. So I think maybe they're just because these are going to be your showcased guys. Because I don't know who's in AAA right now. It's funny because I think I have AAA Network on the back end of one of my Amazon Fire Sticks. But it's so I don't know who's there. But you're going to be using your Pentas, your Phoenixes, your LWO, Andrade, these cats. So it was match definitely left some to be desired, but I agree with you. Strong finish. I was good with it just because Phoenix did get the win with the nice little knees off the top rope, but I'll take it. I think, like I said, they're saving something for Worlds Collide because that's when you can fully just throw WWE and Lucha at people, and it's gonna just open the door.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree with that. But then we get the Jade and Tiffy segment. Jade reveals that she'll be fighting Nia next week for the number one contendership, and that she's going to come after Tiffy after it's all said and done. So no surprise there. I really do hope Jade ends up taking the belt off of her. So, but who knows, right? Yep, right.
Yep, I agree 1,000%. I agree 1,000%. I want Jade to take that offer. I want this to be done. I think it's Jade's time, but not sure because Bianca's not back yet. Bianca's coming back. She made it a point to mention at the last, Raw, wherever she was, that she's coming home. So we'll see. I thought it was okay. I was like, all right, great. You get the announcement. Let's get you all out to the ring and get this tag match going.
Yeah. And then 2 last segments before the final match of the night. First one was we get a look again of all the highlights of last week's TLC match, which really was a classic. It was incredible. It made me want to rewatch it again, and I probably will watch it at some point again.
Well, I was just going to say to anyone who hasn't seen that match, just go back and watch it. Do yourself a favor, go back and watch it. Figure out a way to do it and go back and watch it because just wow.
Yeah. And then the last segment before the last match is Andrade gets in Santos' face and says, hey, I don't like you. And they're basically talking smack to each other, and it's fantastic because Santos gets mad and Angel Garza's laughing, and he's like, you know what? That's it. Let's get out of here. And they all storm off. But then Berto is looking at Andrade, and Andrade's like, come on, choose your head. Like, you know I'm right. You know, like it's fantastic.
Man,
In my Antonio Banderas like voice, right? He's like, you know I'm right. You know,
it's so Banderas-y, so Banderas-y. No, this was fun. This was good. It was way to start once again, showing the little rift that's about to form because Santos is yelling. It opens up with Santos yelling at Garza and Berto, and being like, "Where were you? I needed you guys, and this isn't how this is supposed to work." And that's when Andrade comes out, and he's like, "Man, you're just terrible all the way around. You don't respect anything. Like, I like you." And that's when Angel starts laughing.
I don't like you.
It was just very fun, very funny, very like, okay, you're setting the seeds. You have that moment where Berto's like, "Oh, what do I do? Do I leave or do I stay?" Like, so good stuff because apparently they're going to turn on Santos soon, and Santos is going to have nobody, and then who sees what happens with him because Santos is good, man. Santos is really good. So I want to see what they do. But this was a good way to kind of set everything up, and I think Santos versus Andrade, oh man, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, agreed. And then finally we get to the last match of the night, women's tag match between Jade and Tiffy versus Nia and Naomi. And ultimately it is a solid match. Jade gets the pin over Nia. Tiffany does raise Jade's hand for the win. And then when they win, actually, and then the ref passes the belt over to Tiffy, but then Jade kind of snatches it and is like looking at it, and it's like this feels nice. I think I'm gonna take it. You know what I mean? And then Tiffy's like, "What are you doing?" And then ultimately there's like a little tug of war, but then Naomi attacks, and then she's the one standing tall over both of them, and that's the end of the show, unless I missed something.
That's pretty much how I got the end of it going.
Like, what do your notes say?
At this point, I was like, all right, because I knew what this was going to be. This was going to be a quick win for the faces. Not a quick win, but a win for the faces. And then I figured Nia Jax was going to be the one that comes in and just starts wrecking house. But it was Naomi. So my notes are pretty much just like, okay, got it. Once again, once I write got it, that means I'm now assuming everything is formulaic and I see what's happening here. So I have got it. But, like I said, decent match, way to end the night. So, solid finish to SmackDown and a very solid week on Raw and SmackDown. And getting a lot of storylines, like I said, built for payback and things along those lines. So can't complain. A solid week of wrestling, enjoyed it. Tried to get everything in as quick as I could. And it was enjoyable. Like some very, very funny moments, very poignant moments. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. The only thing that I will say, and then I'll definitely throw some final thoughts in there and some things that I want our listeners to go ahead and check out also. This week was a little weird for me. I feel like with Raw and SmackDown, just a lot of ups and downs on both shows. There's a lot of things that I really did love and I was excited for, and I can't wait to see how it rolls out. And then there were things during the week that I was like, man, why am I watching this? So I was getting those feelings again. But overall, like, again, solid finishes. We are building towards things, and I feel like there's just so many pieces everywhere. Like, we don't know if some of it's going for Worlds Collide, some of it's going for Backlash, some of it's going for the next pay-per-view. Maybe something's being set up for Saturday night's main event because that's 2 weeks after Backlash. So regardless, I'm sure once we get closer to the picture, we're gonna see some good fun stuff. One call out that I do want our listeners to go check out, because today I was able to see it. Please watch the X Division match on TNA's Rebellion. Ridiculous match. Also watch the Santana match with Mustafa Ali again, but this time it's like a street fight. Wild, like really hardcore, really innovative stuff. Awesome stuff there. And then the tag match between the Nemets versus the Hardys. It's amazing to see Matt and Jeff still go at the same level that they've always gone, and that's really good stuff. And then obviously the Joe Henry match. There was a lot of good stuff there. So definitely check those things out. I didn't get a chance to check out AEW or anything else this week, but those will be my call outs for this week. And that's it. I'm good. Those are my final thoughts of this week in wrestling.
Great. Yeah. I mean, my final thoughts are pretty much summed up before. Just want to take a moment to, as always, thank everyone, all of our listeners, everyone who's backing us and with us. And I saw some family today, and I reminded them, like, hey, we're still there. So feel free to hit play and give us a listen. And we want to thank everybody for doing that. Giving us a little bit of your time. We know how valuable it is, so we appreciate the time given to us, allowing us into your homes and into your heads to talk wrestling for a little while every week. So just want to, of course, thank all our listeners and all our friends and family and fans and everyone who makes us just want to do this more and more with every passing day.
Yes, exactly. I second all of that. And then we're just super excited with so much more things coming down the line. I know we keep saying it, but it's because we're getting closer to it. So May is going to be jam-packed of with surprises and other things that we're going to be able to upload and share. But we just don't want to say anything yet until it's actually set in stone. So once it's all done,
Right.
we'll be more than happy to upload it and share with the world all these other stories and things that we're going to embark. So yeah. Okay. Bueno, primo, como siempre, you know what to do.
So with that being said, on this glorious Saturday evening, Eddie and I bid you adieu, and we say we will see you when we see you.
We will see you when we will see you when we see you. Take care, everybody.